Okay, well, happy Halloween! And I have all kinds of Halloween festivities planned here, but I thought I'd do a video on a rather taboo subject because I don't give a fuck. I'll talk about whatever. I'll talk about anything. I don't give a shit. And it's very tied to Halloween because everybody knows this is an aspect of Halloween. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that there are some women out there who have very well thought out, well crafted, and ingenious costumes. Look at this one, for example. Wow, look at that. She's a pumpkin. But I would say that there is an aspect of Halloween that is maybe they use Halloween not necessarily the same way that other guys does. Look, it's a cat. But I mean, you can take basically anything from this world and take a woman and turn it the sexy version of it. Isn't that a thing? Isn't that a thing? Now, of course, women make up half of the human population, human mind space. So there are plenty of ideas of women characters that you could be that are not, look at that Mad Hatter, what is that, Mad Moxie? No. Anyways, there are plenty of women characters to make out there, but oops. But you can't go anywhere in Halloween mythos without thinking that maybe they get a little bit more attention if they make it just a little bit skin showing, a little bit to it. So I mean, we take two costumes here of different varying degrees. You got the Mad Hatter one there, but even then, you got some the thing. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there are certainly aspects of a woman that they use as kind of like a Halloween thing. Like there we go. There's one that not really kind of ingenious, not using sexuality to sell it at all. But then I mean you go to the complete different end of the spectrum. Just ooh, I'm a devil, but I'm a sexy devil. So I mean there is kind of a thing about that. Now, obviously, growing up, when I was in the party scene, like when I was, living in a massive household full of girls everywhere, it was just a thing for them. And it is just a thing for some women. I'm not saying all of them, but, when you live with a bunch of women, you kind of get the sense that Halloween is that kind of time. You need to be a little sexy, a little like that. And you can easily turn Batman into uh, promiscuous woman, like that. So I mean, what I'm saying to women is that sometimes you gotta go for a little bit more dignified. There's two scales of it. I mean, there's certainly ones that go completely off the rails with it, and then there's some who do, actually try and do some clever ideas. But I mean, my opinion, I mean, that's like the greatest advantage that women have in the world is that they can, you can go as Wendy Adams, or you can go as, I'm sure it's in here somewhere. You could go as, sexy Wendy Adams, add a little bit of things, and there's so many types of costumes like that where women will do that is that they can they can choose by one or two others. They can go with the regular version, or they can go with the slightly sexy version. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. But I mean, here we go is one that's a brilliant idea. You go as women in black, you go as that, but as soon as you go, ooh, we're women in the black, but we're now a little bit sexy because we're showing a little bit of our legs off. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it is a thing. So let's go to the Spirit Halloween. Just spirits, the media and like the commonalities of these people. These companies like sell to this. So when you look at Spirit Halloween, and they're selling that, like they've got some in mind. I mean, look at that one. I'm a sergeant How many sergeants do you know in the military who dress like that? Not saying they shouldn't, but not saying I'm sure they shouldn't. But I mean, it's definitely a thing. If you got it, flaunt it, ladies. You know what I mean? It's not all bad though. That Cleopatra one, not overly bad. Dear God, that Robin one is terrible. But you see what I mean is that there's parallels between like you could have just made a regular Robin suit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like why the short skirt and boots? You know what I mean? So sometimes like ladies do that. They'll they sell their assets more times than not. That one dignified, obviously. Very authentic, hocus pocus wear. That one extremely authentic. There's nothing overt about that. That Little Red Robin Hood, Little Red Riding Hood or whatever, Little Red Robin Hood, Little Red Riding Hood. That's on the spectrum of I don't think that was normally how she dressed that way. But you see what I'm saying is that sometimes they take these regular ideas and they turn them a little to the dial of of let's say how can I say it, on the scale of ingenuity with these things. It's I mean it is kind of a feminist empowerment thing. You flaunt it if you got it, sister, kind of thing. But it's a massive deal in Halloween. I tell you, they spend 6 months planning their fucking Halloween costumes. And if they want to make it a little bit, ooh, I'm a dragon ninja, but look at my boots and look at my, backside, they'll do it. They'll do it every time. It's the seduction of attraction. Everybody's dressed up. They tend to go on a level. I saw one the other day. Who was that the other day? It was like Kendall freaking Jenner, and she was like, this was that Jessie from that, but she was like full on, like barely wearing any pants, completely. That was Kendall Jenner, and I was like, geez, I was like, man, you're going to do that to Toy Story, but I'm telling you, like, there's no franchise, there's no character, there's no nothing that they won't take and turn the dial up a little bit to the sexy side. Construction worksite hottie. See, and they know that because it sells. It sells. Men have a very simple mind, and there's nothing a woman wants more than to walk into that Halloween party and she's all out there, and every dude in the entire club or bar or house party or wherever she is just staring her down. That some of them live for that. I'm telling you. And then some women, see, dignity is this sliding scale for them. Is that like occasionally like it's an inherent acceptance of oneself. If they're not very accepting of this, they have something to prove. They want to get themselves out there. They'll go for the sides of that. They'll go for where's one. That one almost to a degree looks kind of like they'll go for that. They'll go for that. Trust me. If they're at depending on what stage they're at in life. But if she's just a carefree chick, she wants to have fun at the Halloween party. She doesn't really care. She's got a good husband. Life's pretty good for her. She doesn't have a lot of proof. She'll go as what are those blue yip yip. She'll go as a ham and that with her boyfriend. You know what I mean? So there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum of femininity out there that they will use Halloween, and they will advertise a lot. Mad Moxie. Yeah, imagine Mad Moxie is one. See, if there's a character that they can kind of is already looks like that, like Mad Moxie, or to a degree, like any one of these. that already is a little bit revealing. They'll use that. Ooh, sexy police. That's a classic one because they're the element of allure is very much there. And then dudes will just whip on a freaking Wolverine costume and call it a day, you know. Dudes just want a cool costume. That's all they want. But yeah, very few young blustery TikTok stars just pop on a wolf mask in a full wolf suit and run around. They are planning their costume. They are planning how much they're showing off, and depending on how confident they are with themselves, they'll show a lot off. And if they're kind of just you know in a relationship and they don't have a lot to advertise and they just want to fit in with the crowd, they'll go with one of these for them and their significant other. But man, I tell you that sometimes it's like and these are all Spirit Halloween costumes, so they know that. These companies know that sexy firefighter and the right uh, on the right person is gonna turn a few heads, and they use it. And a crazy cat lady is more than likely to buy a Raggedy Ann costume. So I mean, yeah, there is a spectrum, and it's worth mentioning too because I mean we live in an age where these things are important to keep in mind that at an adult's party, there's gonna be there's gonna be a few of these. I've been to a more than my fair share of ones where there was some very revealing Halloween costumes on women. It's just kind of an inherent nature of theirs, isn't it? To be a certain way. And if they're just with the girls having some wine, they'll dress up they'll put a witch hat on and put a few stickers on their face and call it a day. But man, if they're an Instagram model who's single and flirtatious, oh boy, will they'll plan their costume out to be the next biggest thing. Now there's a whole other aspect to this because we've talked about Halloween costumes. We've talked about, that. Let's talk about the cosplay because every year is if you're a attractive enough woman who has a lot to sell, every day is Halloween. Any day can be Halloween if you're hot enough. And, nobody's going to complain, I guess that's only half. I was gonna say that this chick got very few. Isn't it weird too? Sometimes you'll see like very beautiful women with a lot to show for themselves, and they don't really get a lot of viewers, and that it's kind of a little bit of an awkward situation because plenty of women who are extremely gorgeous and show themselves off a lot online become like that. It's like just millions of people will just like fly to their things. It's 100 times easier as a woman to get popular online if you got the assets. Take this chick for example. I mean, she went for the most unrevealing outfit she possibly could. Just slap on a skin tight Spider-Man suit and you're good to go. This is that like what Sophie Rain or whatever. And yeah, I mean, she's like a multi-millionaire, gets like millions of 30 million a month or something. And all she is just a fairly attractive woman, you know, that is, sold herself to the devil, so to speak. And, she's going to get a billion views and likes and bookmarks for a picture like this. And she's not even putting on that revealing thing. She just got she's about a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, I don't know where her personality is. I usually say that you can there's attraction 1 out of 10, and that she's kind of she's definitely up there on the percentage scale, but who knows what her personality is like. So I mean, there's like for women, you're going to be judging their personality, looks, the two mesh together, how they present themselves to the world, that all goes into the rating scale. But on a look scale, she's 9.5 for sure. So she's not gonna ever have to work a day in her life or lift a finger. She's probably got a whole crew of dudes running around doing favors for her. But I mean, that's all she's got to do. Just put on a Spider-Man onesie. You'll get millions and millions and millions of views. And then the other chicks like this, they go a little bit more crafty. You know, they probably got. Sometimes they have entire crews of people. Some of these cosplayers have a whole bunch of people that make crap for them. So they make crap for them. They take a bunch of pictures. They split the profits. You know, like give them 10% to the fucking photographer dudes and stuff, and she takes 90. It's a whole business for them. And cosplaying is just Halloween costumes all year long. That became a thing. And yeah, I mean, if you, I don't want to scroll too much through this because you definitely get some prawn. Um, yeah, because it sells. It sells itself. It's like anything that sells itself in this world is that you are not going to have to try very hard if you're a curvaceous woman. But I mean, it's becoming such a thing. I mean, people think that beautiful women are some ridiculous rare treasure, and yeah, there's a lot of different women out there of different degrees on the rating scale, but there are a lot of beautiful women out there. As someone who's been around for some time, they're not some incredibly rare resource that you'll never find. You know, go if you're a dude who's spending all day begging for attractive women's attention online, go to a random bar or club on a Friday. Go to the park. Go around, you'll find them. There's women are half of the population, and a good chunk of those are like pretty high up there, sevens to nines. Uh, and you will find them. They're not the most rarest resource ever. You know, she's about I don't know. Her face is a little bit her that, but she's about an 8, I would say. Her face is probably closer to 6, but yeah, I mean that's what you have to remember as the women. You could probably, if you're a decent enough guy out there, you could probably bag a Sophie Rain not far off. You know, depending on your individual tastes. Every man has different taste in women. But yeah, I mean, cosplaying, it's a thing. Women have a rating scale. You gotta judge women based upon their looks. Uh, there's gonna be lots of Tomb Raiders out there because it's a very, cosplay type thing. Tifa, another one. Easy to sell a good looking woman in a Tifa. Slap on some makeup and you're good to go. You know what I mean? Remember, fellas, makeup is a big thing. Makeup can sometimes make them go from 6s to 10. God, I'm not even gonna click on that. Look at that, Buzz Lightyear. Even Buzz Lightyear. It's like even Buzz Lightyear is not safe from it, bros. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're there's nothing they can't take and make a little bit sexy. There's just nothing. There's nothing that they can't come up with. A Siri. Yeah, there's two levels of cosplay. You know, you want to be the strong woman, but strong whammon. But yeah, even the Teletubbies. There you go. I'm telling you, there is nothing a woman can't take and make just turn into a sexy costume version of it. And they are there's no limit to Luigi, adult level up super video game character. Luigi. Oh. Ugh. And then remember, you have that whole other aspect of it where men can join in on this game. But I mean, yeah, even that is just a little bit skewed, and they go by this. They'll think of the most, you know, obscure idea to show just enough to make it like a. That's a pretty cool one. Yeah, is that like a thing? But you know what I mean, is that like women can either go in two directions often. Is that they go in the direction of being dignified, and then they go in the absolute opposite direction. And for a woman, you, they spend their whole lives, determining whether or not you go down which other road. Do they go for a kind of a more wholesome version of themselves, or do they go, what is it? Or do they go down the route of, barely wearing anything Tinkerbell? It's a scale, and it's definitely a scale on Halloween because you could go in that suit or you could go in that suit, and if you have the right body, who do you think is going to be more popular at the Halloween party? And couples, I mean, I'd imagine that some women dress a little bit flirtatiously, even with their significant other. Maybe they're cheating on them, or they're planning on cheating on them at the Halloween party. That's the reason. But couples costumes show a lot. If they both take the very unrevealing approach to a thing, they're bound to be. It's kind of like a unspoken social contract, isn't it? I mean, no guy, and I don't care any guy who says in the comments and whines about this, but if you are a dude and you are in a relationship, very serious relationship with someone, and you don't have any problem with them waltzing around in a let's give a good example of one. I mean that would be fine, obviously. But if you're a dude and you're in a serious relationship with a chick and she comes out saying this is my Halloween costume for tonight. There we go, this one. And she comes waltzing out of the closet in that, you're gonna have some serious soul searching to do, bro. Because yeah, how they reveal themselves to the world is a big indicator of their advertising campaign. And that there you go. There's a perfect couple. If you're the scream dude and she's a barely clothed dude, you're gonna have some wondering to do. And and then she'd decry saying, "You're insecure." Be like, "Well, you know what? There is that. Well, that's not too bad. I don't know if that's supposed to be a Chuck E. Cheese or something. There we go. There's a perfect one. She's not overly revealing. He's kind of, they're a couple's costume, that kind of thing. But like I said, if you go to a Halloween party and your girl's dressed like that, oh boy, man, you've got some soul searching to do, because how they reveal themselves to them is what they want. If only you are the one supposed to be looking, and she's dancing around in the club in where's one? If you guys are serious, and this is another classic. I mean, this one's just hilarious. If she's dancing around on the club floor like this, and you two are in a serious relationship, man, you've got problems to deal with in the future. But yeah, like I said, is that there is a whole spectrum of this thing. Women portray themselves in very obvious ways. They're, this is a woman just trying to be strong and brave. That is a woman trying to show. Is that even a real woman? Jesus, she doesn't even look real. Looks like a toy or something, like a Barbie doll. But anyways, like yeah, if you're she's dancing around in that, like she's doing that for a reason. It's very obvious. And how they can take some of these things and turn them into their own little version, it's very telling. Like, is that really necessary? Is it really necessary to have the Fallout jumpsuits basically showing off their assets like that? And Luigi. Jesus, Luigi. You're gonna do that to Luigi? Mamma mia! Yeah, so like I said, they can turn anything into a sexy version of it. Even Buzz Lightyear isn't safe. These skin suits show off obvious assets, just like this chick is doing. Is like they are women are experts at the male gaze. They know how to do that. If they're a little bashful, they won't show a lot of it off. You can tell a lot about a woman by her confidence level and showing off her, uh, you know, good parts. But isn't it a little funny that they anything they dress up in they can skew to make just a little bit more appealing to dudes. Alloy. That face, that's like a 4 out of 10. But Buzz Lightyear again? You're gonna do that to Buzz Lightyear again? Jesus. Anyways, it's funny. I thought it was a funny topic. Women and Halloween share a very special relationship. There's plenty of characters for them to use well, in both science fiction, horror, movies, games, anything there is, and they vary in different degrees. Some of them are good at showing off, some of them are not, and some of them just plain don't want the world looking. Even a Power Ranger suit. Probably one of the better ideas, the Power Ranger suit, honestly. But look, ooh, we're sexy Superwoman now. And whatever the hell that is, I'm still not convinced that's a real woman. Stuff like this is cool. Say that's all. If you're a good enough looking woman, that one is always gonna be a hit. Trust me. That one is not so revealing. That's in I'm in a committed relationship. Don't look kind of behavior. Oh, I used to have a crush on Sarah Jessica Parker in Hocus Pocus. I was absolutely enamored with her throughout my life in the first Hocus Pocus movie. The second one, she was really showing her age, but damn, did she ever look good in that first Hocus Pocus, Sarah Jessica Parker. So happy Halloween, and ladies, not even Luigi's safe. Peace out.